Steve Burns is the director of Zoo Boise. Different parts of the zoo are dedicated to animals from different parts of the earth. We started our tour in the section devoted to the rainforests.
Spider monkeys are found in Central and South America, and they are amazingly agile. You know, we're not very good tree climbers, and they are excellent tree climbers and vine climbers and everything else. One of the things that enables them to move so well is called a prehensile tail. And if you look at their tail, it's very long. It helps give them balance. But there's a digit at the end which they can move independently of their other tail. So it's having like a finger at the end of his tail. So he can just grab onto a branch or grab onto a vine, and it gives him extra stability. So, you know, he can keep his hands free and yet still balance himself by holding on to something with a tail. Well, it's breakfast time here at the zoo, so it's time to feed all the animals. And this is what Mr. Mack and Mrs. Mack are going to eat here. The Aldabra tortoises are going to eat this morning. As you can see, it's a nice looking salad. They got some nice greens, they got an egg. Each of the animals here has a very regulated diet. We want to make sure that we don't just give them anything. And it's one of the reasons why we discourage visitors from feeding, because we don't know what they eat if that's the case, if the visitors are feeding them. There's very specific portions that each animal gets on a daily basis so that we can regulate what their weight is and make sure that, you know, they're getting a nice healthy diet.
Eating is an important part of an animal's life, and what it eats makes a difference too.
Cockroaches are amazing creatures. You know, as you can see, they're just all over each other, and they really gross people out. But they're really important. You know, they eat all the stuff that nobody wants to eat. They're called detritivores. They eat detritus, which is just the stuff, you know, all the poop and all the decaying stuff, and that stuff would just pile up if it wasn't for things like cockroaches down there eating away.
Cockroaches aren't the only thing tidying up in the zoo. Zookeepers make sure all the animals' areas are kept clean, and that keeps the animals healthy. Zookeepers build a real relationship with the animals they care for. Some zoologists and zoos make a special effort to protect those animals that are endangered. At Zoo Boise, one of the most popular animals is the endangered tiger. These beautiful creatures are one of nature's greatest hunters. Burns says it's very sad that there are only about 5,000 of these creatures left in the world.
There's so many elements of our culture that are based on tigers, and not just here in the United States, but in many other parts of the world. And we have sports teams named, you know, the Detroit Tigers. We have company logos that are tigers. And this is an animal that could very well be gone within the next 50 to 100 years.
Another new addition to Zoo Boise's collection is the red panda.
Red pandas are highly endangered. There's only about 5,000 to 6,000 left in the wild. Zoos play a role in conservation by helping to breed these animals so that it's in essence like a savings account. If the animal ever did go extinct in the wild, or if it got to a point where the wild population was so small, you can take animals out of zoos and put them back into the wild.
Zoos are an important place for people, too. It's a place where you can find out all about animals, which ones are the fastest or the strongest.
You know, human beings, we have two things going for us. We have a big brain, and we have an opposable thumb, which allows us to do a lot of things. But we're not very fast in relation to other animals. We're not very strong. We can't jump very high. We can't climb trees very well. So we're kind of limited as to what we can do physically. And when you work at a zoo and you see these animals on a daily basis and you see how amazing they are in terms of what they can do, it's really humbling.